All right, John, baseball team.
Best team in the American League? Best record in the American League?
You've been sitting on this Javy question, this Javier question, and you want people to weigh in.
I want to know if Javier Baez is somehow recovering in the PR department. Is he endearing himself to Detroit Tigers fans, to Detroit sports fans?
What was seen as impossible.
Well, because it's the contract. It's how abysmal he has been prior to this season wearing the Old English D. And now all of a sudden, some of it is his quote-unquote, the perception of I'm selfless and I'm going to play third base. I'm selfless and I'm going to play in center field. And he has performed admirably in both of those positions. At the plate, he's hitting just shy of 300. His strikeouts are still there, but his walk is up. His chase rate is much better.
Which means the strikeouts aren't insultingly ugly, and he's drawing up the pitch counts in those at-bats too.
Right. They're not 3 and 4 pitch strikeouts where he's swinging at 3 balls that his bat's not long enough to reach. Like I've actually only witnessed, and I've seen most of his at-bats once this year, and I'm sure it's more than that. But there was a strikeout in the Houston series where it was like boom, 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 and then he swings at one that's outside the strike zone. Okay, that was Javier. That was Javy. Yeah. But is Javier Baez endearing himself to Tigers fans?
This rebrand. Look, he's still the highest paid player. It's hard to call him an underdog, but the cost is the cost. That's not changing. The production, that'll play. Because
I'm not even sure it's the production, but it's the contribution.
Well, those are kind of the same thing.
A little, yes, but it's being up with the bases loaded and hitting your first home run. Like the production in home runs is not there, but the contribution was.
Look, he could have kicked back and said, "I'm getting paid either way. I'm getting booed. I'm just going to be sour about this." And he came up to AJ and said, "Play me anywhere." Mm-hmm. And he went through this surgery and had to rehab it and had to prepare. And you're right, the strikeout rate's 25%. Yeah. Not that great. But at least I'm getting a guy who's flirting with 300. At least I'm getting a guy with productive at-bats. At least I'm getting a guy who I can put in the field and help us in a pinch when we desperately need someone to cover some of these spots. At the end of the day, you may feel a certain type of way about Javy. But if he's contributing to winning, isn't that the cure-all? Call him Javier if you have to, but I do think he's endearing himself to people.
He's challenging pitchers. He's literally challenging pitchers, and I don't think we ever thought that we would say that about Javy. Now Javier. Like I just never thought we would.
Take a texter. Good morning, boys. Dan the therapist here. I'm definitely endeared by Javier Baez, but not Javier Baez. The split personalities. Did you see, by the way, the Tigers used Keegan-Michael Key's little clip after he hit the grand slam? They're paying attention.
I'm glad they're listening.
Admin's a listener. 248-539-9797. Tim in Berkeley. What do you think? You're on 97.1.
I think definitely the thought process of the fan has changed. I think everybody's still a little skeptical, possibly, because it's been a short period of time. But he has definitely endeared himself. You can hear it at the games. You can, there's less booing, almost always more cheering. And, you got to give him credit. Whatever he's done, whether it's recovering from the surgery or the fact that he's just rededicated himself, he's a good athlete. You can tell it by how he plays center field. And the Tigers are finally getting a little reward for their patience, and I mean patience, with him over the last years of his contract.
And there's still 2 more full seasons beyond this one, so he may end up getting back to that Javy point when all is said and done. But
and he could simply be adjusting to. I mean, he's not a spring chicken anymore. Right. He's been in the league for a long time, and how he operated on and off the field as a young player, a cocky young player. I can do anything. I'm bulletproof.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden, after a couple of years, wait a second, I can't do that anymore, or I'm crushing my legacy. and I'm also never going to play baseball again. So I've got to find a way to do things differently on and off the field as a complete individual.
Baseball will humble you, but there's nothing more humbling than watching people make gifs of Sister Jean striking you out.
Yeah, that one's with a gigantic baseball bat. He had the torpedo bat before it was cool.
The very, very long bat.
The 40-inch bat.
Yeah, you get humbled in a hurry. And Javy could have moped. He could have sulked. He could have said, you know what, I'm getting paid either way, guys.
Yeah.
But he wants to be a contributor on this team. He is a contributor on this baseball team, more importantly. Whatever he wants, he is a contributor right now, and I think that's how you win people over. At bat by at bat, game by game. There's a role for him on this team, especially with all the injuries. There's a role for him on this team. He's got to deliver, and a grand slam yesterday is a great way to show people.
And I think the one thing moving forward, we have no idea what the rest of the year brings. But the thought that, okay, shortstop, third base, center field. Okay, Veerling comes back. Parker Meadows comes back. Is he just a shortstop again? Or what if there's an injury in left field, right field, second base? Is he the guy that could play all those different positions?
He's played second. He did with the Mets a little bit. If you can play center, you can play the corners. I know they're not the same, but if you have the range, you can at least get by.
How many positions do we see Javier play this year?
Donnie, Kelly, baby.
Well, the fact, too, that he's factoring in here and there's just no a buyout's completely off the table. Something we speculated could happen during the season way back in the offseason, but like it's just another guy that's going to pinch Colt Keith potentially down the road here.
Well, he had a home run yesterday, which is a good sign.
Colt Keith in his 1 home run, 5 RBI in April.
Well, he did hit his first one before Javier did.
He did. He's got that on him.
Wait, are you turning on Colt Keith? Did I just sense something there?
Hey, we've played a month of baseball. You know that I was all about give young guys time.
And I was the guy giving him a hard time a year ago.
Yeah. I just figured since we're giving Javier credit for his first homer that we had to work in Colt.
How do we mispronounce Colt Keith's name with his alter ego here?
We don't want to try to do that on the radio.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that one live. Not going to do that live.
We'll leave it to Keegan-Michael Key.
Yeah.